But Miles Monroe said this. He talked about how prayer is not just, throwing up words, right? It is inviting God to move in a space that he gave you dominion over. You're a human. He said, I gave you dominion over this earth. Well, if you want me to do things here, and I want to do things here as God, I need you and you need you to ask me to do this stuff. But guess what? I do this stuff through people.
Okay.
And him going away. Jesus would go away, but he would come back with something. I'm going to say that again.
Please.
Jesus would go away, and he would come back with something. Jesus was tempted in the wilderness after he was fasting, but then he started his ministry. Like, he came back ready to go. Like, he spent 40 days with the Lord. 40 days, 40 nights, no food. And came back ready to save our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came back with something. He would leave to be with the Lord, and then you could see the actionable proof. Like, you could see the actions he would take afterwards. The problem with and to use the term you did, pray it out culture, or just the pray culture, there's so much power in prayer, but there's not a lot of emphasis when prayer is brought up on how to come out of prayer and now walk in the faith in what you were believing for. Now, I will say that we have a history. We do have a history, especially when you're talking about black people. Now, I'm saying this no matter what, ethnicity you are, but in the black culture, when you're looking at church, you see a lot of praying and travailing because it was very specific things that needed to change. You're talking about oppression, you're talking about slavery, you're talking about segregation, you're talking about death, you're talking about poverty, you're talking about really big things. Well, they would pray about those things, but then they had leaders to direct in what we need to do to change these things. Marches, boycotts, where you were spending your own money, how you would vote, how you would live your life to call people to change, the conversations you might have and how you would respond. There was more action steps attached to that prayer life. You needed God to intervene, but Miles Monroe said this. He talked about how prayer is not just, throwing up words, right? It is inviting God to move in a space that he gave you dominion over. You're a human. He said, I gave you dominion over this earth. Well, if you want me to do things here, and I want to do things here as God, I need you and you need you to ask me to do this stuff. But guess what? I do this stuff through people.
Okay, can I jump in?
Come on.
There's two instances that God just brought to me.
Yes, come on.
One was Moses.
Okay.
Moses goes to the Red Sea. God, like, what? I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Egypt's coming. Yeah. Red Sea's here.
Yeah.
Put up your staff. Boom.
Action.
Sea parts.
Yeah.
They go through.
Yeah.
Then they look like, oh, snap. The sea is still open.
Yeah.
Use the staff. Again.
Close it.
You close it.
That's good.
Close it.
That's good.
And then I just talked at church about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Jesus, the garden, he's like, Lord, please let this cup pass from me.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to go to the cross.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, not my will, your will be done. The angels strengthened him.
Yeah.
And guess what? He still had to go to the cross.
He still had to go to the cross. Action still had to be done on earth.
He still had to do it. In order for the power and the open door for us to have what we have now. Like, it has to be a partnership between those two things.
Yeah, even when it's tough. And that's what Gen Z needs to see.
Yeah, come on.
What they see is pray about it. And I get it. Life is tough. Like, we be stressed out and we don't always feel like, breaking down why and what to do and, pray about it. In other words, take that to the Lord, because maybe I can't handle it. I don't know the answer to it, whatever the case might be. And that's real. Like, that's the reality. We don't always know the answer. So the answer is go to the one who does know the answer.
You'll be strengthened.
Yeah.
As Jesus was in that moment.
You'll be strengthened.
Yes.
Or you will get wisdom, or you will get direction, and hopefully your faith increases.
Yes. And
you take that and go do something, even if that doing something is asking a question to somebody else. God, show me the person who I need to ask to give me direction on this. God, I need you to do a thing that we as humans can't do. Right. That's one thing. But I also, I got to understand that if it's something that humans can do, I should probably try to do that. Like,
oh my goodness.
I should probably try to do that. And that needs to be taught.
Yes.
That needs to be taught, and that understanding of what prayer does.
You don't pray to brush your teeth if you have working limbs.
Come on, brother. Come on.
If you have working limbs, you just go, you get the toothbrush,
and you
just do it.
And if you have a thought, you thank God that you can brush your teeth.
Yes.
But you're not praying if,
No, let's talk about students here for a second.
Come on.
We have tests.
Yeah.
I have students who are praying before a test that they have a successful score. They ain't looked at the book once.
And what you expect to happen?
What you think's gonna happen? No, pray God, help me remember this as I'm going through my studying process throughout the week.
Yeah.
2 weeks before, help me retain this information.
Yeah.
But there has to be some sort of information there. It's not just gonna pop up. He's not a genie.
And okay, don't look at do you know who you are? You're made in the image of God. This is why we do stuff.
Wow.
Like, God is like, you know who you are? Like,
right.
I made you. You were made like me.
Yes.
And I gave you dominion, which means I gave you ability to impact what happens in the space I gave you dominion over, aka the world. Therefore, don't just pray for me to do stuff. You do it. That's the way I am with my kids.
Wow.
I'm like,
wow.
Hey, you know how to do that.
Right.
Go ahead and do that.
Wow.
Why are you asking me to do it if you know how to do it? Now, if you need guidance, that's one thing. You need encouragement, that's one thing.
Right.
You need me to kind of prep it for you because I realize your mind is not all the way there to understand it fully. That's one thing. But if you can do it, hey, go ahead and do X, Y, and Z because you can. And for us, I think we have to remember, and our students have to remember, you are a child of God. You were created in His image. That means you got power well beyond what you understand. Go do the thing. But I think that has to be, that type of process needs to be taught when it comes to tough situations. When you got a student who's like, hey, I am struggling with pornography. I'm struggling with homosexuality. I'm struggling with pride, heavy. I'm struggling with just my identity in general. I actually don't know what I think about blah 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 blah. Right. The answer is not just pray, because again, you're made in the image of God. What can I do to help them? Yeah. And I think we have to ask that question before we tell somebody to pray. Right. What can I do to help them? Oh, I don't know what to do? Well, then what I need to do is probably go ask somebody or refer them to somebody. It's not something, prayer is not a thing where we just, and this is ministering to me. Right. It's not a thing we just, hey, God, I need you to handle that, and then we just go back and sit down and chill. It's like, you know who you are? Right. It's like, well, who do you think you are? That's an appropriate question to just toss it up to Him. But also, who do you think you are? You're a child of God. Yes. What can you do?
And I think that is part of the reason why we don't, because I think older generations, including myself, we're also scared of being prideful believers that we don't teach the value of what a child of God brings. Let me break that down a little bit. Yeah. So, when we understand that we're a child of God, that means we should draw closer to Him. We should spend more time with Him. Yeah. this might be controversial as well, but I believe this with my whole heart.
Yeah.
That as you become more mature,
Yeah.
God allows you to make decisions, because as you understand what His heart is in a thing, and you understand what God's purpose is for your life, then you know the boundaries and borders in which you can make that decision.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to, like, let's just say a job, for an example.
Yeah.
I know that I'm called to educating young people.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to actually making a decision if I have this job or this job, as long as it's within the realm and it's ethical, God's like, yes.
Yeah. Make the choice.
Which one, God? Yes.
Yeah.
Now, other things come into play. Like, I have a kid, wife.
And He might say, go with this one just because, but that don't mean...
That don't mean that the other one is evil.
Yeah.
You're going to hell for that. Like, your word's going to spiral upside down.
Or that's the standard, that He's always going to tell you which one. It's like, you got options.
It doesn't mean that you lose opportunities either. It's like, yes. But we have to be mature. That's a key thing. We have to be mature. We have to be secure, as you mentioned earlier, in where we are in our relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
A counselor friend of mine, and she had a student who thought about committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this counselor is a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
Like, pray, like but what she said was, she had a conversation, and she was like, we want to pray about this thing. After we prayed, she talked to the student's parents.
Yeah.
And was like, okay, tonight, I need you to remove any sharp objects.
They got practical.
I need you to remove sharp objects. I need to watch out for her a little bit more. This time I need you to monitor her a little bit more than usual.
Yeah.
And so the prayer was there.
Yeah.
It was powerful to remove that feeling or thought.
Yeah.
But also, okay. It empowered them to, okay, let's take these practical steps to where we can do things here physically that will reduce the options that the person has to do A or B.
I feel like that's something about what you're saying that brings up a theme that this Generation Z needs, which is it's an age-old thing, but it's the balance between, well, what is, I guess we would say, spiritual or divine, and what is earthly and practical. Right. How do we balance these things? There's been a lot of majoring on the spiritual and not always with the fruit that comes or should come with that. And then there's been a neglect, at least as I have seen. This is not everywhere, but there's a neglect of the practical things that need to be done when there's big scenarios. Put it like that. Because it comes out naturally, because that's what we have to do. Oh, you don't have gas in your car? We're going to pray you get some money. Then it's like, all right, somebody needs to help her get some gas in her car because she got a problem getting home. Okay, so the practical comes in. But then on bigger issues, I'll push the button, like racism.
Okay.
It's like...
I wasn't expecting that one, but please.
It's like these students are looking and they're saying, I have eyes, I have a nose, I have ears, I got all my five senses. I see a problem. Well, there has been a spiritualization of the problem that when some people spiritualize it, it cloaks it like it's not a problem. And when other people spiritualize it, it's like, well, just pray about that thing. We're going to pray.
Right.
Well, that balance comes into play. Well, how much do we do and how much do we pray? The answer is yes.
No.
You're going to pray as much as you can.
Without ceasing.
And you're going to act as much as you can.
Right.
Because we've been given dominion over the earth. We have something to do here.
Right.
We don't have, this is not just a place we live in. Right. This is a place we build. This is a place we protect. This is a place that we change and we grow. We do things here. We have to give them that. Otherwise, we insult their intelligence. And we make them feel like they're wrong morally, and they feel like we're stupid intellectually. But the moral part hits different because it means your soul. So it hurts them deeply. It's like, you just this and this and this and this and this. When in reality, it's like, no, I just got a brain that works.
Right.
And they're like, y'all are dumb. You're making dumb decisions.
And it distorts their view of the biblical principles that are in there.
It does.
It distorts it. It makes them see, they read something, and because of the lens that we've given them,
yes,
they see it as oppression.
Yeah.
And this is all racism. We're not just talking about racism.
Yeah.
Like this distorts the view on how we see each other and how we see ourselves.
Yep.
But when really the Bible is uplifting, it doesn't give we're not giving them the right context around what something is saying. As an example, we always hear money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
First, it says the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yep.
But then, if we go to Ecclesiastes, I know I'm about to get you excited.
Come on.
If we go to Ecclesiastes, it tells us to have 7 or 8 adventures because you don't know which one's going to fail.
Cast the bread upon the water.
Cast it upon the waters.
You don't know which one's going to come back.
Right. You don't know which. It's talking about from a financial. It's literally talking about money. Literally. Talking about money.
Literally.
Invest in 7 or 8 things. But when we hear that, we're like, no, I just want enough to pay my bills. I'm good. Just give me the rent that I have to do.
Just give me Jesus.
Just give me Jesus.
I know that that's going to trigger. That word is out there today. But it's going to catch some of y'all. Just give me Jesus. Just give me Jesus is good in the context of you can have all of this world. But God is like, well, yes, and also I gave you the world.
Yes.
So do some things in that thing.
Why should only unbelievers have the full experience of the beauty God has created in earth?
Oh man. You talking on that.
Why is that reserved just for them?